Draft season is well underway with the Super Bowl concluding a little over a week ago at this point. And when you get more eyes on college tape, we start to see prospect fatigue become a real thing. One player that I will not allow this to happen for is Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham. I'm starting to see some things come up online and people poking holes in his game. So let's do it all together, dive into his tape, and talk about the things about him that make him a special player, a top 5 player in this class alone, and why he's going to separate himself not just at the combine with his athleticism, but how he can separate himself on the football field multiple different ways in the run and pass game. Now, one thing you're going to see, he's listed at 6'3", 320 pounds, so he's got to be able to stand up well against the run and double teams playing on the inside of that 3 tech. He plays all over for Michigan from a 0 all the way out to a 4-eye and everywhere in between. So when you see him come down here, over here, and he's going to take on a double team, what's the leverage going to look like? How are you anchoring yourself? What technique are you using? Here you're going to see a little bit of a kickstand technique taking on number 78. You'd like to see him get a little bit further underneath here, play with a little bit better leverage, but overall, he's in a pretty good position. He's going to use that kickstand technique right here with that left leg, and then he's going to get up underneath. They're going to do a nice job here of eventually getting him out of here where they push him out to the right. But this is where you want to take on double teams, because when you're taking on multiple blockers at the same time and then those blockers can't get to the second level and help block down here and get off to the next level here, or even full off of here, when you're not able to do that, it allows linebackers and secondary members to flow very freely to the football. So this play doesn't come to that regard with players moving in and around, but you can see how he takes on the double team. And then, just that lateral. I mean, look where number 77 is trying to push Mason Graham out here. He's over on his hip. A lot of players aren't going to be able to stand up to that for as long as he does, but there again, he's trying to reintegrate himself against that double team. He's got very good double team technique. He uses good leverage, and that kickstand technique where you see him get down to a knee on that one leg and still drive up through the initial blocker to take on double teams is very good. He uses it very consistently, and it's not a part of his game that he only flashes from time to time. It's in every single game, and that's what you really like to see. And then block recognition and play recognition are really apparent when you watch Mason Graham here. He's just getting down the line, right? It's an outside zone play. Running back in pistol is trying to get down to this side right here. So Michigan, again, really nice job. A very sound football team. They're going to get down here, block up that left side of the offense, force the running back inside. And now Mason Graham, again, is going to work to the opposite side of that tackle. But again, he's getting his hands on outside, extending where he can, and then he's able to get down the line to be there when the running back cuts back inside. That's just recognizing the blocks right here. So again, he's in that gap, so he stops. Initially, eyes here. All right, so I see a wide stance from this offensive lineman, outstretched hand here, trying to prevent me from getting inside that gap. So I know to get downhill quickly, and then with that lateral agility quickness, he's able to get caught up, uses his hands here to get up on the block, and then just continue to flow with the traffic there. So this is what you see every single time with that play recognition. He's got really high football IQ because of the way he can see everything unfold around him, whether it's off of double teams. He does a great job of sticking his nose inside the middle to split double teams and locate the football and still make a mess in the backfield when he does that. But I think an underrated part of his game is that ability to, even with shorter arms, make plays with extension and then being able to peek in the backfield. Here again, he's going to get that center come downhill, so he extends a little bit. He doesn't fully extend, he more keeps it bent in, but locates the football, sheds very quickly, and then he's able to make that tackle. That's what you want to see. And again, for a guy who's got shorter arms, how are you using them? What are you doing to maximize the length that you do have? But even then, are you able to maximize when you bend your arms? Like here, he's not fully extended, but one thing you do see is that he plays a little bit high at times, and that's because he's a very quick player. He uses lateral agility, quickness, hand technique to defeat blocks, and especially when he's getting into the backfield, he uses those quickness and that skill to really come up and around players. So really here he gets that center coming up through here, and then he again identifies where that ball carrier is. So you can see here, that's where he is, in the eyes from Mason Graham are doing a nice job. Again, locating where that football is. One, I know I've got number 15 here. He can flow to the outside if I need to. But overall, the intention of the running back is going inside. Even before the play unfolds here, Mason Graham is identifying that and then getting to the inside. And then he closes very quickly with that lateral agility, quickness, and he can kind of jump on running backs and quarterbacks when they're behind the line of scrimmage. So that football IQ and that ability to still stack, peek, and shed very quickly with his length for what it is one of the more underrated parts of his game against the run. And then we talk about the football IQ. Sometimes you're going to get faced with weird blocks, and this one is like halfway between a pass block and a run block. It's not aggressive, but it's not all the way back as a pass pro, but they're just running a draw play here. And Mason Graham, once again, identifies eyes in the backfield. One, this isn't really a true pass set. It's also not a real run block from number 77. So that raises alarm bells for defensive linemen regardless. So here again with the quickness, eyes in the backfield locating, seeing that they're not doing much either. So he recognizes this is going to be a draw play, and watch the angle that he takes when he beats this offensive lineman around the edge. It's not to the quarterback, it's to the mesh point where he see how he corners right there and gets to the football. That's just pure awareness, understanding where the football is, where it's going, and where this play is designed to attack. So again, he's such a unique football player at 6'3", 320 pounds with shorter arms, but against the run, he uses power, he uses anchor, and he uses quickness to impact the run game with tackles for loss, getting down the line against those zone plays, and he can still anchor very well and defeat double teams from time to time, even though he doesn't have elite length for a defensive tackle. This is my biggest problem, excuse me, with Mason Graham, and what I believe people are misconstruing online for a lack of power. Now, as a pass rusher, he's not the flashiest power player, but I think that's more about his length than it is anything else. And when you see offensive linemen anchor in the backfield like that, when they are able to pop their feet back and absorb the power, this is where I think the length comes through for him, or actually doesn't come through, because typically what he's trying to do is use his power to extend and create angles. He wants to use rips. He wants to use swims and slaps. So when he does use power, like he's attempting to right here, and initially he gets that push back of number 67, so he's pushing back through and tries to extend right here. This is where you see he wants to get that arm underneath. A little bit of hand location inside could also help that. But I think because he's unable to really truly extend with some of his lack of length, it comes across as a lack of power generated in this type of situation. But number 67 does a nice job of absorbing the power initially and then coming back through. But one thing that I do appreciate about Graham in these situations is that he doesn't just give up. He will go to counters. In this situation, he doesn't. He recognizes that the ball is about to come out here. So eyes here first, right? Eyes were here first, and then they're going to come around to this side where the quarterback is, and he's going to do what he can, try and get a hand on the ball, right? Fight across, try to do what you can to impact the passer anyway. So yes, lack of length it does show up for him as a pass rusher, but it's not lack of power. I can promise you that. One thing I love about what Michigan does with him is that they allow him to kind of float around a little bit and run and rush from a 2-point stance. That's where he's able to use speed to power, and he's just going to bulldoze this guard into the backfield and then close for the sack. So I think overall people saying he lacks power, he doesn't win with power, predominantly what he wants to do is give offensive linemen a little bit of a pop and then go to a rip or a swim or a push-pull. He's not a predominant bull rush win with power guy, but it's not because he doesn't have power. He absolutely does have power. He's very strong at the point of attack, and we see that in the run game with his ability to anchor and take control of encounters with his strength and his power at the point of attack. And again, here, just that slight delay. Like I might go one way, I might go the other. Instead, he uses that delay like what I love about this, again, the delay, he stops a little bit in his attack, like he might loop this way or loop that way, and then he creates that one-on-one situation with both of these players coming out. So right here, you've got offensive lineman, attention here because he's in his gap, right? Now Arion Tyrusari is out here because number 42 is going around the outside. Running back is going to release up through the middle here. And so Mason Graham uses that slight delay to open up a one-on-one situation where he just bulldozes through that guard right there. That power and the extension. So with improved hand location on the chest, I think this could be more of a thing that he is able to do in the NFL. But I won't say that he lacks power. I think that it's just not his go-to, because that's what you see right there with actual pop, leverage, speed to power. He attributes it very well and can absolutely disengage and pull guys back off of that. So the power to different moves is his main goal right there. It's not, he doesn't like to be super flashy with it, but he wants to go a little pop in the chest to a rip like he does right here. And unfortunately, he trips over an offensive lineman's leg, but he comes around here over this guard, a little bit more of a 4 technique, almost a 4-eye, or a 3, excuse me, where he's more of a outside shoulder of that guard. So a 3 technique, I think that's going to be where he ends up in the NFL. But again, he can float all over the place. So a little bit of inside arc, right? So inside and then to the chest of the guard, pushes a little bit. You see that extension comes with underneath with the left arm. That's what he wants. He wants to create this look right here where the offensive lineman is in this situation with a little bit of push up the field, and then he can rip underneath with his left arm, and then he, like I said, accidentally trips over the offensive lineman's leg there. So when we see it in full speed, this is the little bit of power that he wants to go. It's not super aggressive here, but that's where that length shows up, right? Where it's not a ton of separation where he can then bring that left arm underneath, real rip it through. But overall, that's what he wants to do. He wants to use that little pop to create a little bit of separation and then swim, swipe, or rip underneath. And he's very effective at doing it because his hand technique is the best in the class. Defensive end or defensive tackle. He has the quickest, most reactive hands in the class. And I'm not stuttering when I say that. It's 100% a fact. And that's why he's a top tier athlete and why he understands how he can win in different ways. I'd like to see his counters timed up just a tick quicker, because right here he wins another outside move where he comes outside and then right across the face with that swim. Boom, slap, swim over, and then you see he get picked up right here, and then he goes to the spin, and then he gets around it. The hand comes up a little high on that spin move, but it's a reactive spin based off of I didn't expect to be picked up right here, right? So again, really quick swim, outside, inside footwork, really quick. He's able to get downhill, and then again, back to that swim move, and then to the spin itself. He has a lot of different ways to get to the spin move. It is his favorite and most effective pass rush and run defense move where he's able to do a lot of different things. So here he's going to use it against this guard, but what he does is a little bit different than what we just saw, which was more of a pure swim straight over. This time he's going to go a little bit of a hand swipe, and then we see the swim come through and he's able to close. Unfortunately, for him, the ball comes out very quickly. He has a very wide array of getting to his swim move, setting up outside, inside, or in this situation, you see with number 77, he's going to attack with his hands, and then you're going to have Mason Graham kind of swipe at them and then swim over in this very fluid nature where the hand usage, again, is just so elite. Here it is, little swipe down. There's that swipe initial, and then he brings it around. That's just so quick and so fluid. He's so good at using his hands, and he can, like I said, he can get to his swipe or his swim move in a variety of different ways. This one's more of a rip down through with his right arm and then swim over, and he closes, and the quarterback goes down. So when you're able to sequence in a bunch of different ways, using a rip move throughout the game, using that power to rip, or using a speed inside or speed to power, you're able to set up guards thinking you're going one way and around, especially because they also loop him around as well. There's so many different ways that he can attack guards, tackles alike. He's going to lose more often to tackles with length because they have that length on him, and if they get him right in the chest, it's going to be far harder for him to defeat those. But overall, he's going to be able to continuously create havoc in the backfield of any offense in the NFL with these kind of lateral moves. I believe he's going to test very well at the combine. He's got real speed. He closes quickly. And then I think he's an underrated tackler for his size too. For a guy who has those shorter arms, I think he tackles pretty well. People forget last year also, he was incredibly effective with a club for multiple games at Michigan in 2023. Back-to-back years, an All-American, obviously all Big Ten. And that's what you're looking for, a guy who's creative. He's a havoc-causing player in the backfield, but he's not lacking for power or anchor or strength. All of those things still exist within his game. He's just more of a speed guy against these college players. Will he have to use more power in the NFL? Most likely. It's still there. It's in his game. It's just not a forefront part. He can win with power. He chooses to win in quickness because that's how you really get after quarterbacks. He can collapse pockets. We see him just kind of dispose of a guard into the almost the lap of a quarterback there, and then he's able to close for the sack. So all in all, do not allow the prospect fatigue of this guy who's been fantastic over the last couple of years get to you. He is a blue chip prospect. He's going to come into the NFL and immediately create an impact on any defensive line that he gets drafted to. So I expect him to go inside the top 5 and test well next week in the combine. So I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of Mason Graham. If you guys are new to the YouTube channel here at TDN, please hit that sub button right now. Hit the like on the way out, and we'll see you guys next time.